Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining me today. Um, we are going to talk a little bit about what happens once the student completes their financial aid application, whether that be the FAFSA or the alternative application. But before I get started, I want to talk. I want to go over some housekeeping items. Um, Again, my name is Claudia. I am the Parent Outreach Coordinator with the Illinois Student Assistance Commission, or ISAC. And again, as I mentioned, I'm going to cover a little bit of important information about the steps after your student completes a financial aid application. Again, this session is for parents, particularly for those who have high school seniors. However, anyone is welcome to stay in this session. This is a very important information that um, will be helpful, even if you have a freshman, sophomore, or junior in high school. But before I get started, like I said, I'm going to do some housekeeping items. As I mentioned in the previous sessions, this session will be recorded and will be available for everyone on the ISAC YouTube channel. If you have questions during the session, please use the Q&A option at the bottom of the right side of your screen, and we'll try to answer those questions as they come in. If your question doesn't get answered today, or perhaps you have questions later, you can contact the ISA core member in your area, or you can also schedule virtual appointment with them as well. So we will be providing that resource for you in the chat. Again, if you want to schedule an appointment with the local core member, you can do that as well. So I always like to start the sessions providing a little bit of background information to let you know who we are, what we do. So basically, the Illinois Student Assistance Commission is the state agency that administers financial aid programs to help pay for college. And basically, in collaboration with schools, we provide different services, but mainly we support the schools providing workshops, presentations, or support one-on-one with the students and their families, so they can better support their students in the college planning and financial aid application process. And our mission is to provide Illinois students with information and assistance to help education beyond high school accessible and affordable. So again, in today's session, I will be talking about what happens once a FAFSA or alternative application for Illinois financial aid is submitted. So just as a reminder, or for those who are new in this process, or who are new joining this session today for the first time, students in their high school senior year have to complete a financial aid application. It is a graduation requirement, whether that be the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, for eligible or for eligible citizens or non-citizens, or the alternative application for Illinois financial aid for those who cannot complete the FAFSA, or that are not eligible for the federal funds, right? So again, this is a requirement for high school graduation. Students can start applying for one of these applications. So again, it's one or the other, as early as October 1st. So again, these applications were available last year in October, and they're still available for the students to complete if they have not completed their financial aid application. And again, this is for seniors. I usually recommend families to complete their application before the December holiday break or before the Christmas break. just to make sure that students are done with that process and they can concentrate on their academics the rest of the school year, or perhaps they still have to complete other processes required by either their high school or the colleges that they are applying to. So again, the last year of high school is a very busy year for them. So again, completing this application early will allow them to have more time for other processes that they have to complete. So what's next, right? So that's why we're here. What happens once your student sends their FAFSA or their financial aid application? For this specific session, I will focus on the FAFSA, which is the very first thing or the very first step when it comes to completing the financial aid application. Again, there is two, but again, for the purpose of this session, I will focus on the FAFSA. So the very first thing that we need to make sure once the student completes the FAFSA is to make sure that it was actually completed and submitted correctly. So once your student applies, they should receive a confirmation email. So it is important that if your student has not heard from colleges regarding financial aid offers, to confirm that they actually receive this email confirmation, and this will come from the Department of Ed. So once the FAFSA is submitted, it will provide a confirmation email along with a submission page once the FAFSA is submitted. Also, once the FAFSA is submitted, just for those who don't know, it will take from 1 to 3 business days for the application to be processed. So again, if your student doesn't have a confirmation email, it is important for them to log in and check the status of their FAFSA. Students can always go back using their studentaid.gov account, or also known as the FSA ID, and make sure that their application is processed. There is different statuses that the student can see when they log in. So again, if it shows that the FAFSA is processed, everything should be fine. But one thing that I want to point out is that if the status of the FAFSA is in process or progress, that means that the application was never submitted. It was probably started, but it's probably missing something, right? It could be missing the parents' information or completing the signature page. So again, make sure that this part is done, and we will also provide the link for you to visit Student Aid and check the status of the application. When the student completes the FAFSA and the FAFSA gets processed, so what happens is that FSA or the Department of Ed will share information from the FAFSA with those colleges that were listed on in the application, right? And for those who your student applied to and got accepted, they will send a financial aid offer. So this will be the next thing to pay attention to. These financial aid offer will be sent via email to the student. Sometimes they send a hard copy by postal mail as well. Other times the student will receive an email letting them know that the financial aid office is ready for them to view by logging in to the college's account or their account. And so again, it is important to be in the lookout for those emails. This financial aid offer is a notification or a document, again, from the colleges specifying the types and amounts of financial aid your student is eligible to receive, such as grants, scholarships, if the student is consider for a college scholarship. It could also include student loans and work study. So basically, this financial aid offer outlines the total estimated cost of attendance, including the tuition and fees, living expenses, and your estimated out-of-pocket expenses as well. The financial aid offer or the financial aid that is listed is for one academic year. The FAFSA or the financial aid application has to be completed every year. And so that particular financial aid offer that the student will be receiving is for that for one academic year. So for example, the ones who completed their application and they already received a financial aid offer, that financial aid that is listed is for the 2026-27 school year. So also, some financial aid offers have the financial aid split in 2 semesters. So, for example, if the student is receiving $4,000 from the Pell Grant, for example, it will be divided into 2 semesters. That would be for the fall of 26 and the spring of 27, or sometimes, depending on the school, they go by quarters. So it is important to pay attention to that. And that, again, that financial aid offer is for one academic year. This financial aid offer will also provide instructions to the next steps, like, for instance, accepting or declining student loans. So again, a lot of the students don't know that completing the application, the FAFSA in this case, the student is also or maybe eligible to receive student loans, and there will be instructions as how to accept them or how to decline them. So in summary about the financial aid offer, basically the purpose of this offer is for you and your student to understand the price of attending a specific institution. And one thing that I didn't mention at the beginning, so when the students complete the FAFSA, they are encouraged to list more than one college. And the reason is because when they start receiving these financial aid offers, they can compare from the different financial aid offers from the different schools. Again, for example, if my child wants to go to college A, based on the financial aid application we submitted, I can see how much college A cost, how much financial aid my child is receiving from federal and state funds, from scholarships. If my student is eligible to receive an institutional scholarship, it would also be listed on the financial aid offer. And then it would also list what the amount I would have to pay. So again, it's really important to look at these financial aid offers because it will give you a better idea of, this is how much the college costs. This is how much financial aid my student is receiving, and this is how much money I have to pay out of my pocket. One of the most important things to look out in these financial aid offers is, again, the type of financial aid and the amounts is really important. Oftentimes, I heard from families telling me or sharing that they are receiving scholarships, and then when we actually go over the financial aid offer, we realize that there are also student loans included. So this is the importance of this financial aid offer. Again, all of the schools your student applied to and to which they get accepted will send this financial aid offer, and it usually happens around this time or around the spring. So it all depends on when the student applies or when the student submits the FAFSA. But usually, if the student submitted their FAFSA, at the beginning of the school year or when the application was available, again, October 1st, they should be receiving these financial aid offers now. Another important aspect to mention is that there is no standard format for these financial aid offers. So don't expect all of them to look the same. Some are more detailed than others. It is important to compare them so you can make an informed decision based on the financial aspect, right? I know there are other aspects the students are considering when they applying to the different colleges. But again, I guess for us parents, it's important to look at that financial aid aspect, right? I guess to help you compare the different financial aid offers, there is also resources for that. So we have some tools that can help you with that. I encourage you to visit the ISAC student portal and use our comparison worksheet that can be found in the toolbox tab. And again, we are providing that information in the chat. I'm going to check and see if there is any questions so far. So I don't see anything in the chat, so I will continue with the information. So what if your financial situation changed from when you completed your FAFSA or when you completed your taxes that you are providing in this application? So if your financial situation changed because you are working less amount of hours, or because you lost your job, or for any reason your income decreased from what you earned in 2024, because those are the taxes that you or that your student will be using for this FAFSA, it is important to communicate with the financial aid offer from the schools from which you are receiving these offers. So this is another important aspect that you need to consider, right? So again, if your income was higher in 2024, so unfortunately that's the taxes that you will be using, but then this year your income decreased, then it is important to communicate with the financial aid offer, because they might be able to adjust the offer that they are providing to your student. Another thing that can happen once the financial aid application is submitted is that your student may be selected for verification. And this verification process is handled by colleges. This is a completely normal process. It basically, if your student is selected for verification, they may be asked to provide additional documentation to the school, and it's just important to just to follow the steps or doing providing the information that they are requesting. They may ask for the student's household size. Requiring a signed statement with name, age, and relationship to the applicant. They may want to verify their income. For parents who earn income but did not file a tax return for any reason, they may be asked for documentation of income earned. Sometimes proof of identity is asked just to ensure that the student is who they claim to be. And there might be additional documentation or different documentation from the one I am providing right now. So that's why it is important to follow up with the college that the student is applying to, or that the student is interested in attending. It is crucial to provide the information requested and provide it on time. Otherwise, your student will not be considered for state or federal financial aid. Again, this is not to alarm you. This doesn't mean that you completed your FAFSA incorrectly. This is just to verify it, right? And sometimes it might not happen to you, right? But just know that this process exists and is completely normal. This process is just if the student is selected. Again, one of the important things here is to submit whatever it is that they're asking for, submit it on time. And one of the things that I always encourage the families that I work with is to keep copies of everything that you're sending. Scholarship search. Another important thing I want to mention is that students and families don't realize that students can apply for as many scholarships as they want. Oftentimes, families or students think that FAFSA or the alternative application is the only thing they have to complete in order for them to see if they're eligible to receive financial aid. But as long as they meet the application criteria for any other scholarship, they can apply. FAFSA or the alternative application is just one way to determine whether a student is eligible for need-based financial aid, but students are also encouraged to look for other opportunities, right? So these scholarships can be available at the national or state level, or even within your own community. So our student portal, I know I have been referring to it many times, but we have a lot of resources, and one of the resources that I share all the time with the families is for scholarship search, such as Aly or the CIS 360, to help you search for these opportunities. And again, I will be sharing this in the chat. So let me, before I forget this, I will share this link. And this will be for scholarship. Okay. Okay, so this is all the information that I have for you today. Again, I would say if you want a summary of the steps that you need to consider once the student completes the application. So again, make sure that that application was submitted correctly. Look for that confirmation email. Make sure that your application is processed. If your student have not received any financial aid offer from the colleges, again, compare your financial aid offer. And again, you can use the tools, the resources that we have in our student portal. The verification process, again, very important process, completely normal. Just make sure to return all the documentation that is requested from the college, to send it on time by the deadline that is required, and the importance of searching for scholarships. This is free money, and again, there are different opportunities out there. And again, the importance of searching those scholarships right now. The other thing that I forgot to mention is that colleges' websites is also a good resource to look for these opportunities. Especially those that your student apply to, right? They have deadlines, so it is important to visit those websites as well and check what's the deadline for their particular scholarships. So with that, I'm gonna just share some of the resources I mentioned. So this is our student portal. And if you have any questions, please share it in the chat. Again, if you don't have any questions right now, and you want to meet with one of us in person or um, virtually, you can schedule a meeting. I will be sharing the bookings. This is for virtual appointments. If you prefer an in-person meeting, you can always go to the student portal, look for the ISAC core tab, and then you just type your zip code, and it will show you a picture of the core member in your area and their contact information. Okay, I don't see any question in the chat. Thank you so much for joining the session. Again, the session is for parents. We will be providing another session next month, March 5th, but we will share that information in our social media. So stay tuned. Join me next month, and we'll see you later. Thank you so much for joining.